Hey everybody, what's going on? It's your boy Eric Buckner. E-Buck is in the building. This is a special edition of my Get Off My Lawn Live podcast. This evening I was supposed to be discussing and having a sports edition of my podcast. I still have intentions on doing that later on in this episode, but I would be not only negligent but remiss if I do not address some of the things that has gone on in our country today in regards to that. My co-host, Mr. Hugh Lee, will be in shortly to discuss with me as well. But right now, folks, what we have seen over the course of the last few hours, it is not at all a good thing. Not at all. I cannot approve the messages and the things that have transpired. I am very upset, extremely so. But that being said, because we know that Facebook has put out a statement saying that there will be no tolerance for anybody making any statements that incites violence or speaks on violence, we will use this platform, but we will use our words carefully as we discuss this. That being said, if you have any statements in the comments that are that, I will not be reading them on the air. So let's try to use our words. But yeah, we definitely want you guys to express how you feel about what's went on as well. Okay. So that being said, my here. Hello, Hugh.
Hey, what's going on, E? How everything going with you, bro?
Well, as you know, I am not at all.
Yeah, it's been a really crazy day, man. We was getting excited to do the show on just sports alone, and we had to basically split it up a little bit because there's too much going on in the world, and we see a lot of angry people, and definitely the Facebook, family. But a lot of these things need to be addressed. But on the other hand, as we discussed too, it need to be discussed in a respectful manner. No disrespectful comments, not going to be read, and it's not going to be tolerated regardless.
Right. I mean, like I said, we all are upset and not please people. So I understand that. And that being said, I understand we got the feedback. So we're gonna work on that, y'all. We're not gonna let that go up. Here's the thing, people. Right now, what I have seen over the last couple hours is not pleasing to my eyes. What I've heard is not pleasing to my ears. We are in a bad place here with this thing. Yeah. I see the feedback. We're working it out. Do me a favor, mute the mic for a second. Let me see something. Hello? Okay, yeah. So okay, Hugh, we're going to do it that way. Because everything's fine now. No feedback now, right, y'all? So yeah, we'll go back and forth with that. But the thing is, people, right now, this is not America, but yet it is. What we have seen, okay, you're saying no, Nikki, or you saying no feedback, or no, you still hear feedback? All right, let us know. But okay, remember what started this all off. Today we have the counting of the Electoral College votes, and the plan was to disrupt that ceremonious thing. Okay, good. No feedback. All right. So what happened was, as predicted, the Republicans determined that they would step in and make a mockery of this part of our government selection process. They contested Arizona's electoral votes, and that led to the discussion that ultimately led to some of the things that went on after the fact. But let's look at what really happened here today, people. We had our democracy severely handicapped by what went on today. We have to remember, we as a country are part of the world. And what the world saw today from America is shameful and disgraceful, and it's just ridiculous. I cannot believe we as a country have people in it that behave and act this way after an election where the majority of all of us voted for someone else. Okay? Bottom line is the people that represented those folks outside the Capitol that did the things that they did, they are in the minority. The majority of us who voted chose Joseph Biden to be our president, not the person that they are fighting for, okay? Not at all. So for this to happen to this degree is a disgrace. And other countries are looking at this, and right now, who knows what they may be thinking? They may be thinking, yes, this is America. Y'all wanted to go here so bad, but look at it. It ain't no better than any of us. They may be looking at it like, look at America. They're going through all type of foolishness. This may be the very perfect time to strike against them because they won't be paying attention. They too busy caught up in their own foolishness. Okay. All right, Hugh, let's try you out now. See what you got. Go ahead.
All right, hey, what's up, man? You getting any feedback?
Okay. Now I am. All right, hold on. You go ahead and talk now. I'm gonna mute my mic.
Okay. Yeah, man, it's been really devastating. It was a low blow to our country because, like you said, before we got a little too relaxed with the security system around America, and that's when 9/11 hit back in the past. I think we all got a little too comfortable in our own skin as Americans, and what happened today, they said it was, they didn't really call it really that much of a riot until like the very end, but it was a heinous thug act. I was disappointed, and at first we debated. We were saying, man, do you want to do the show today, or you just want to, just take time to breathe and process this? It was just a little bit too much, man. We're getting tired of it, and a lot of the stuff's going on because people don't understand, or they understand, but they just don't want to change. They feel like that our former president is still the president and feel like he was robbed. A lot of his words was the reason why these people got upset, and he riled them up to do this act. I just feel like it's a shame because we're trying to move forward. It's 2021. We went through so much in 2020 with the coronavirus, which is still alive and well today. But I've noticed a lot of those people too who did this riot, a lot of them didn't wear masks, and they're still going on as everything is normal. Just really sad, man. I really wanted to just talk about sports and laugh and joke around and just have really good conversations of what's going on, because there's so much going on in the sports world today too. But we just had to take a step back and let people know that we understand your frustration, and what we can do is just pray, man, for a better tomorrow. But the sad part about it is, I know that as an African American man, I couldn't climb those walls. I couldn't be in the White House. I couldn't do all the things that other people's done to get there in the White House. We seen them looting, taking things. We wouldn't have made it past trying to climb up the wall. That's one of the points we're trying to make here too, because of the fact is, when you try to have a peaceful protest, a lot of times it can come out to be violent. We were trying to be in a silent state to where we were trying to be peaceful, and we were still getting to the point where we were treated like animals. And that's what basically made the Black people get angry and cause the commotion. I'm not saying it's right. Rioting and looting and doing things like that is wrong. But you push a person for so long, they're going to fight back. I feel like in this case, it was just they didn't like what they heard, and they just went on this violent act, the rioting. And I'm just surprised that, it went this far. But at the same time, I'm really not surprised because this was going on for a while. And this was really disappointing in the former president to be, because he didn't get out here. He didn't say anything. He didn't talk about, trying to make peace in the world and how this needs to stop. This just lets you know how America is so divided right now. And he should have basically said something and just basically said, this has to stop. We have to be better off as people of this country.
We're not asking for your permission. We're not seeking your approval. We're claiming what's ours in the name of our ancestors. We are their answered prayers. This is more than a movement. This is a revolution. Black innocence. What are yours today?
Hi, this is your boy Eric Buckner, and right now you're looking at my show, Get Off My Lawn Live, here on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Tune in each Tuesday as we talk trending topics, what's going on in my world, and the things that I feel we all need to talk about and have discussions about as people. So again, thanks for checking out the show and tune in each week for Get Off My Lawn Live with me, your host.
Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. Nikki. Let's talk. Nikki.
I can't hear you. Yeah, I can hear
so
you.
here's the problem. You got multiple outlets going. That's why we get the feedback. So if you got like your phone and the tablet or whatever it is, both of them can't be playing simultaneously. That's what's causing the feedback.
Okay.
Okay, so all right,
Everything good now?
keep talking.
Oh, okay. You can hear me. Sound better now? No feedback?
Not on your end, no.
Okay.
Not I got it. All right, hold on. All right. Hold on. Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. No, it's still feedback. All right. Mute yourself. Okay. No feedback. Okay. Turn back on.
Okay. You hear me now? Feedback still?
It's still feedback when I'm talking on your end.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm sorry about these technical problems. We'll work them out. But in the meantime, people, here's what we're gonna do. We're doing it like a mother. Okay, so when I'm talking, go ahead and mute you, and I'll just mute you when you're talking, and we'll work it. Because what we got to say is more important than what's going on up here. All right, here's some of the comments. Let's get into them. Yeah, go ahead and mute. Okay. All right, so yeah, we got Okay, thank God. Leah is actually in the midst of that right now. She's working like just a couple blocks away from the Capitol. So please continue to be safe, Leah. We are praying that everything works out and you get home safely, because that is way more important than whatever they got you doing for real. God is here with you. Absolutely, JoJo. Okay. Robert says, good evening, Jen. I'm dumbfounded about how far these protesters got into the Capitol building. It just shows how vulnerable we really are. I honestly believe he should be removed immediately. And I'm going to get into that most definitely. Good evening. I totally agree with you. And it is well overdue for this type of hatred. Yes, he needs to go immediately. Agreed. Okay. Y'all are doing great. Thank you very much. All right. So, people, here's the thing, y'all. The problem that I am having at the moment with all this is the fact that, one, yes, we all know that the protesters were allowed to do way too much today, okay? And, you know, many people on my Facebook page, and I'm sure on yours as well, Hugh, have said the same things in regards to that. We, as people who look like us, would not have been allowed to do this, okay? They would not have allowed people to look like us. If that crowd was mainly people of color, in other words, storming the Capitol building, things would have went way different than they did today. Let's be completely and totally transparent and honest about this thing, okay? That's problem one. Two, yes, we know the narrative was, yes, let's go and support our president and let him know that we believe in what he's saying, that this election is rigged and some shady, crooked things went on. That was the narrative that was supposed to have brought all these people from all across the country. And yes, these are not people from DC, folks. These people come from all across the country. There are people right now from here in Michigan in that very space. They showed them this morning going on the bus leaving to go there. And yes, some of those people in that crowd did, in fact, look like us. Let us be clear on that as well. There are some people that look like us, but those people are very small percentage of that particular crowd. Okay? And remember, like I said, we know what the narrative was supposed to be, but in the same token, what it really boiled down to is that narrative is not what it really was about for some of the folks that were there, okay? They were there because they gave them an opportunity to do the things and say the things that people who believe like them, and yes, I'm saying racist people that believe like them, foolish people that believe like them, angry, dumb, ignorant people that believe like them, can relate to one another with. It was a rally for them even more so than it was a rally for the so-called president. Okay, here we go. Y'all know I go on the air tonight. If I went on the air tonight, I'll get kicked off all my platforms. So I'll just watch you guys. Understood. Because people are very upset. And, you know, I always portray this as part of my Nighthawk Network. Nighthawk Network, our voices, our people. So for those of you who want to speak on this and can't, or just can't find the words properly to where you're not going to get binged off the platform, allow me to speak for you. We are upset. We the people are upset tonight, okay? We are angry because we have went and cast our votes, and in turn, we want our choice recognized and respected. This other foolishness that's going on to go against what the majority of the American people have voted for and have approved is unacceptable and will not be tolerated. But that being said, we are not going to go the route that some of these ignorant people have done today, because some people, they would definitely encourage you to deal with it in a manner that is not appropriate. We need not say exactly how. We're not trying to get binged here, people, but you know what's being said. It should not have come to this, period. He lost. He continues to report that, yes, this was a great travesty of justice. I won by a landslide. No, sir, you did not. You did not. You lost. We did not approve your message. You are finished. Pack up, go home, move on. Let this country heal and move forward. On you, Hugh.
Yeah, a lot of people I know who had platforms definitely wouldn't get on the air because they would have got real rowdy or, basically said what they needed to say. We had to channel back a lot of stuff, man, because at first when we were talking, it was a lot of stuff that was going on. And for the most part, we didn't use good words. We use very vocal words, but then at the same time, for us to use bad acts or to talk or even stoop that low to just make you know that if we let them beat us from doing what we want to do in a respectful manner, in the right way, then that makes all of us wrong. We already divided. I'm not saying all white people are racist. I got a lot of good white friends who's on my side, who's on your side, who's on our team, who's actually tired of this chaos as well. We just want things to be better for the kids of tomorrow and for us today. But when you see this, like you said, he is so bad right now that any country or anybody who was plotting on us can come in right now and could do like total damage because we're off guard. We're fighting with each other, man. We're not even trying to be united as one. We're called the United States, not the undivided states. So what's really going on? You tell me. But yeah, it was sad because we didn't really want to do the show today. But I felt like E said, hey, Hugh, man, we got to do what's best for the people. And we got to do what's best for us. The show must go on. And that's what we're doing right now. We understand y'all pain. And we just want to be the voices that's heard, but in a respectful manner. And we will definitely try to speak for everyone who definitely are ashamed and upset at what's going on, because we're all pissed off. I don't think there's nobody happy right now. My page was flooded with anger. Some people spoke, in a good manner. Some spoke total violence. I feel like they're getting sick of getting kicked in the face or getting pushed around, and they just want to be heard. But we have to just basically understand and brace ourselves before we make some of the decisions or say some of the things we say, because at the end of the day, you might want to take some of them things back. So be careful for what you say and how you approach this matter. All we can do is just leave it in God's hands. And so much stuff that goes on, we always try to leave in God's hands, but he come when he's ready to come. He's not going to come at the snap of a finger. We got to basically be patient. And I know it sounds crazy, me saying be patient, because how long can we be patient as Black people in America? We've been through so much right now, and we see a lot of the privileged people doing what they want to do. But as soon as we just try to be heard and have our voices be heard and tired of being treated a certain way, they want to, basically taser us. They want to pepper spray us. They want to abuse us and our so-called rights. So yeah, definitely we want to make sure that we approach everything in an appropriate manner and just basically be your voices for tonight until you can basically have a peaceful gesture. Or for the people who can't right now, we just want to let you know we're on your side, and we just trying to do what's best for all of us, and just pray that sooner than later we can move on and start rebuilding.
Yep, excellent points, Hugh. Absolutely. And like I said, make no mistake, you may see the calmness, particularly with Hugh, but we are both very angry about what has transpired. Not just today, but in our country in general the last 4 years. And we're not even talking about just living a life as a person of color, period. That's a whole nother argument. But the thing is, folks, we are trying to move forward and away from all this foolishness. We've seen it all build up for weeks that he was going to plan some type of grand, stupid gesture. Make no mistake, part of what happened today was planned by the powers that be. He wanted this to get somewhat chaotic. Perhaps it went a little farther than he may have intended, but perhaps maybe it did not. That being said, we have what we have now, okay? And there's other things to discuss in regards to that. But I definitely want to get into some of these comments you guys are making. You are making excellent points, and I do want to hear your points of view because, like I said, this is our show. This is our forum, okay? Our voices, our people. So I do want to hear your voice. Just keep in mind, if your comment is a little bit too off the rails, I can't read it because I don't want us to get flipped. I want us to be able to have this discussion, folks. Okay, yep, Leah's doing good. You keep going, Leah. You know, I'm going to be checking on you till you get home. Exactly, Eric. It's time to clean houses, especially the dirt from the ignorance away from us. Preach you and Eric. Thank you, JoJo. I will speak up. Biden, one that is, many dummies are not wearing masks and support Trump. He doesn't care about them. They risk their lives for this racist. Twitter has locked Trump's account for 12 hours and deleted his tweet that said these things happen. He said these things happen. Yes, this comes from the person who once famously said there are good people on both sides. Remember that comment? Moving on. The dude who went in there and had his feet up on Nancy Pelosi's desk. Just disrespectful, but then want to say that we are the savages. I got to talk about that for a minute, Hugh. There are the pictures that they're showing now. Pictures where people who were there to film what was going on in Congress basically followed these idiots around. And of course, they allowed that because they wanted people to see them and these signs of disrespect. Not only was it the idiot that posted up in Nancy Pelosi's office, there was the idiot who posted up in Mitch McConnell's office. There are other people that posted up, but then the ultimate one was the person who actually broke into the Senate floor room, sat at the top of the desk, and on a hot mic, because the mic was still hot, proclaimed that, yes, Trump has won this election, while simultaneously being on his social media page. That happened. That person and those people should be imprisoned immediately. Immediately. Trespassing. Illegal public assembly. Because no, you did not have a permit to have a public assembly inside of the Senate floor, inside of Nancy Pelosi's private office. Basic person A could not just go up in Nancy Pelosi's office. You know why? She is the Speaker of the House of Representatives. She has access to many private documents that might actually be out there now, because you also seen people as they broke into the Senate floor taking pictures of all the stuff they saw on the senators and representatives' desks. You have breached national security by doing this, people. For the people that allowed that to go on. Because, yeah, they got overwhelmed eventually, and that's why they were able to storm the Capitol. But in the same token, should we not be concerned that the Capitol, where the House of Representatives and the Senate were meeting simultaneously, was so easily breached by American citizens? Let's just say in that crowd of quote-unquote supporters, there were other descendants that had other things in mind. Yes, there will be a report later on that you will see that they found suspicious packages in the midst of all that today. What if one of those packages was a bomb or anything crazy like that? Would your opinion be a little different then, Republican people? Hold on. More comments, you. Then I'm going to go back to you, all right? The dude who went in, yeah, we already went there. Ridiculous. I've been told that it was Pence that ordered the National Guard to show up because the president refused. I almost believe that. Because remember, he was so pissed off at his boy because he did not do whatever he planned on having him do today, that, yeah, he may have refused him that. Now, as an American nation, we need to speak up out loud with truth and honesty more than ever, but also with intelligence and peaceful efforts to make this nation better. We still have a lot of work to do. And yeah, George, I'm going to get into that a little bit too, because please understand that. This does not change overnight by any stretch. Yes, but everyone has heard and seen it already. Unfortunately true. The comments is flowing, y'all. Y'all keep it going. 2 more weeks in office, just 2 more weeks. Do you think our capital will stand that long? I hope so, Amy. I hope so. I will speak up. Biden won. Trump doesn't care about them. They aren't wearing masks and they're not practicing social distance. They are risking it. And like I said, let us not forget that, Miss Pat. I know your point is that we are still in the midst of a global pandemic involving COVID-19, and all these things are going on. Yes, they do plan on continuing with the process of counting the electoral vote sometime this evening, one to show these people that no, you're not going to control what goes on here. But in the midst of that, that place has been considerably contaminated and compromised by those individuals. Yep, always too little, too late. Exactly. Trump, his administration supporters knew exactly what they were doing, and since they planned this 2016 with the violence. Because remember, 4 years ago, same amount of electoral votes, just on the other side of the ledger. What if we, as the people who voted for the opposite person, decided that we were going to storm the House that day when they counted the electoral college votes? That would have went different too, right? Exactly. Hold on, a couple more, Hugh. I agree with what you both are saying, and that's why I'm saying that this person needs to be removed. He can do a lot of damage in 2 weeks. He's already done a lot of damage in 4 years, Robert. Let's keep it 100. Some of the things that he has done and allowed to happen, we will be digging out of for decades to come. Yes, the woman that was shot in the Capitol died. Yes, someone actually lost their life today because of the actions of what happened. And I pray to God she is the only person that does. Because even as we speak now, there is a curfew in Washington, D.C. that some people are not abiding by. People will and should be arrested tonight for these actions. And hopefully it does not get to be more violent than it already has. They have proven repeatedly how dumb they are. Absolutely, cousin. Absolutely. Trump incited a riot, period. And yeah, and I'm going to go there in a second. I want to hear what you got to say, Hugh, and then I got something to say about that. All right, hold on. Let me
Yeah, what's so sad about it is what everybody is saying is basically he planned this. We already knew something was going to happen. Didn't know it was going to be to this point. You know, we didn't think it'll go that far. And this is really America is showing their true colors. And I'm not saying everybody, but the racist people of America. And Trump been trying to get this going on for a while. He basically had a whole thing planned, and he was just waiting to strike. Robert was right what he said, but it's just in one day he did all of this stuff. Just imagine what he could do if he get another couple of weeks, you know, for the disrespect of the people who invaded, you know, and did this riot. It was a shame. I just feel like, you know, I'll give my condolences to the family of the lady who got shot and killed, you know, because you never want nothing to get that out of hand. I just feel like when you do protest and it goes out of hand like it did right now, and I'm not even trying to be funny, it was predominantly white people who were protesting, and this happened. I'm not even saying white people in general, I'm saying the racist white people. And all this occurred. Black people try to have a peaceful voice and have their voice be heard, and we'll get tasered, shot with rubber bullets, pepper sprayed, even gunned down, handcuffs, put in jail. And a lot of our protests came from when the police in broad daylight killed George Floyd. The police put his knee on this man's neck and put all his weight on him to kill this man. And it was just, it got so out of control. You could have easily just arrested him, you know, but you took it that far. while other police just sat around and watched. This is one thing where I feel like, as far as our sports, and it was a huge distraction. We didn't have any sports. We didn't have anything that was live. Everything was reruns because of what was going on with the coronavirus. It was real. It's just sad that it took a lot of people to have nothing on TV and nothing going on for them to see how blatantly racist the cops are and how they treat Black people in America. And in this case, I was surprised. They climbed the walls. They got in in a place where they could do damage to America. Private documents and everything just sitting around. I was surprised. I said a lot more people didn't have their lives taken. Lord forbid, I wouldn't want that to happen. But I feel like just us climbing over the walls, a lot of us would have been dead in this situation. So we need to look at this as American people and understand that the country is being divided by the former president, who this is what he wants. It seems like he always wants anarchy in this country. He doesn't want peace. He didn't even say a word. He let this be known. He let it happen. I don't think he really cares, as long as he get his point across. 2 more weeks, I'm really afraid for what can be in store and what he can have planned. This happened in a day, but I know he basically got this ball moving a long time ago. But we just got to do what's right. We got to get him out right now. We got to figure out what we need to do as Americans, and we need to hit the reset button. But it seems like the more racist people that are out there want to do his job for him. I know he's proud. The Proud Boys are proud. A lot of the dudes who had stuff to do with this situation ought to be ashamed of themselves, but they're not, because they feel like they're privileged. And by them being privileged, they have all the rights in the world.
Again, excellent points, Hugh. Excellent points. Now, I read a little bit ahead, and keep in mind, Mitch, I see you. I'm definitely going to address your comment because you're already thinking what I was thinking. So much so, let me read this definition for you people, okay? So you can understand where I'm going after this. This is found in both your definitions guide, that would be the dictionary, as well as Wikipedia. It describes this as the crime of attacking a state's authority to which one owes allegiance. This typically includes acts such as participating in a war against one's native country, attempting to overthrow its government, spying on its military and diplomats or its secret service for a hostile and foreign power, or attempting to kill its head of state. A person who commits such things is known as a traitor. And that crime that I'm describing, people, is treason. Treason, okay? Again, attempting to overthrow its government. The acts of the people today who stormed the Capitol was in an attempt to change the election of the majority of our people. It was to disrupt and cause problems with the way our government was running at that moment. In the speech that the so-called president gave minutes before these things happened, he encouraged. It is on tape, people. This is not me saying it. You can go look it up yourself. It is on tape, him saying that we must take stronger measures to let the people know the will of us. And he encouraged them to go down to the Capitol and let their voices be heard. That, my friends, is what I call inciting a riot. And that riot led to the acts of the people at the Capitol. You are supposed to be the leader of this government. And you not only allowed that to go on your watch, you encouraged it. You, sir, are a traitor. You, as a traitor, should be charged with treason. Treason in the United States is punishable by anything up and including death, sir. You have committed a treasonous act. You have encouraged others to commit a treasonous act. Treason also is more than enough reason to impeach said individual. You, sir, should be removed from office immediately for this act alone, not to even mention any of the other various things that you have done that you have more or less gotten away with. Okay, let me read some of these comments, Hugh. I saw some Uncle Toms there also. Like I said, there were a few people, but we got to be careful about that use of the word Uncle Tom. We talked about that on Meet Your Show. Uncle Tom ain't exactly what we make it out to mean. There we go. Not Uncle Tom. Those were Sambos and Uncle Ruckuses. Yep, that's a bit more accurate, Meech. Absolutely. But the reality of it has been us. Yeah, the reality of it, if it had been us, we would have been so many more dead. It's the truth. Yep, we already reported that, Helena. Thank you. What makes the whole situation even worse are that Trump didn't even care about his own vice president and other people in the Capitol who's fighting for their lives, especially his racist supporters out there making a fool of themselves just to hype him up. Okay. This is what happens when militias disregard the law. Absolutely. Because do you know some of those people that were allowed to enter the Capitol were armed? If they were not citizens of the United States, would you have let them come into the Capitol armed? If they were people of color, and I'm not just talking about us African Americans, I'm talking about Latino, Arab, etc., etc. Would they have been allowed to go in the Capitol armed today without any major repercussions? Think about that. They're trying to retake the Capitol. That must be going on as we speak. Like I said, I got the sound off right now. I can't see what's going on. Keep me posted, y'all. The best thing today is, despite the horrible moments at the Capitol, okay, you ahead of me on that, JoJo. I do want to talk about that, so I'm not ignoring that, but I'm going to get back to that. Those people should have made it inside the buildings, period. Absolutely. They should have not even been allowed to get to the front door of the place, let alone inside and in people's private offices with classified information everywhere. Who knows what people are going to find out these next few days from what has transpired in that. They have put our country in severe jeopardy with that alone. Hugh, you're so right. If you heard this week's speech he said today, telling these people to go home and we love you, yes. That was the last tweet before they kicked him off. Yes, E-Buck, he is going down as a Benedict Arnold. You better believe it. Exactly. He thinks he could do whatever he wants because he's president. He needs silver bracelets on his wrist. And being a padded cell. Not just the one with the padded cell, because he's crazy. They show a video of these jerks fighting with Capitol Police in the crypt. He will answer anything, including treason, as for what he has done and planned. I mean, this is just so ridiculous on so many levels. And what's supposed to be the most modern, forward-thinking country on the planet Earth. We are embarrassing ourselves right now. Not we as in we know better. But we as a country, we looking real stupid out here. And I don't appreciate it. And this is just half of what the real problem is, folks. Because again, we are in the midst of a world pandemic. It's people like myself sitting here waiting for the next damn rollout of the damn unemployment that still ain't fully clear. Do you not know that even though he signed off on this eventually, a few days later, they still trying to implement these things in most of the states, and most people still waiting to get that extra $300, the additional extended unemployment. People still trying to get the $600 punk dollars that you sent out for a stimulus. And in the midst of all that, you don't deem those things as important. You still trying to put out this narrative that you won this election. But in the end, even if you did for some crazy reason, you ain't even trying to do the damn job right. Why on earth should we approve your message when you ain't even trying to do the freaking job? It's ridiculous. Get back in here, Hugh, before I say something wrong. Come on.
I'm trying not to say nothing wrong right now myself, man. I see how many angry people are out there and who listening, man. First off, we just like to say we appreciate you guys, man, because you guys are keeping us calm, and we trying to be the best platform that we possibly can be to give you the opportunity to voice your opinion without going overboard for them to actually shut us down, because that's all they want right now is for us to use anger or have violence in our heart or say or do anything right now to give them an excuse to get us off this platform. But we will not allow that to happen today. So we thank you all for being out there listening and supporting me and E. First and foremost, thank you for always listening to us and encouraging us to be better as people. It hurts, man, to go through this each and every day. And for us as Black people, Latino, Asian, you know, all different types of races in this world who are here, who want to be in a state that's supposed to be united. And they just basically show the true colors every day. Definitely with a president like he is right now. It's just really sad that he never spoke about trying to get things right, try to make us to the point where we're united as people and love and be there and support one another. He wants these violent acts, and he wants us to do everything that he's inflicting out there. He wants us to fight one another, hate one another, but I just feel like too many people are not paying attention to that. You know, they need to just be as one, be better people, and to not really listen to a person who's out there who's very outrageous and wants to do harm to us, can care less about us. If he cared, like you said, more people to be wearing masks, more people to be going through the protocols and doing what they need to do. I wouldn't even be at my job today because we talked about it on the show. I got an underlying condition. I got type 2 diabetes. I don't want to be out here going to work, but I know I got to pay my bills. I don't want to be put out here in the streets. I know right now they're saying, well, yeah, you know, it's a certain amount of things that we'll do and we'll, like, you know, give you chances out here, and we won't allow that to happen. But you're not going to help me pay them bills. So I have to be out here and to go through this every day. I see people with no mask and who could care less. And I know a lot of the Trump supporters who look at us and feel like what we're doing, we're being cowardly, and we're not even trying to go through our freedom of speech and our rights. But it's like, in that case, are we really doing what's right, not wearing masks, putting each other's lives in danger? And a lot of that stuff was talked about from the former president. You know, he wants this to go on like this. I don't really think he cares for the people who support him neither. I think he's doing this to try to just get leverage and for his voice to be heard. And he don't have to do nothing. He could play the innocent party. He could say, I don't have nothing to do with nothing what's going on right now. Billionaire, former president. I'm not even going to say your name because I feel like it gives you too much power, and I will not allow that to happen. Not on this show. Back to you, E.
Right on, my brother. True words have never been spoken. Okay, let's hear from some of the people. Okay, they should charge him for every tweet that he has done for his ignorant violence. Indeed, because you done put all that on tape, bruh. So yeah, when it's time to bring up the next impeachment trial, whatever it may be, you got all that stuff right out there coming out your own lips. Speak your minds, my brothers Eric and Hugh. Glad you both showing power of justice, humanity, and spirituality. Thank you, JoJo. The sad thing is they know how bad things were a long time ago, and now they want to abandon ship. Shake them, dog. I hear you, Robert. I hear you. He only signed for unemployment because he wants to run in 2024, but now he will never become president again, or should I say resident? Indeed, because more times than not, that's what it was, Miss Pat. That's a very powerful statement. Y'all have every right to be angry. I'm angry along with you. I'm angry at the government for not taking the quinine cult seriously. I'm angry at the military for being racially and politically selective in who they decide to tear gas and shoot. I'm angry that time after time after time, the American people have to witness blatant racism from the authority. I appreciate that, Amy. You know I love you. Everybody that was on camera should be locked up alone. Absolutely, because there it is. Black and white. We got facial recognition and all that other stuff. If not, you know people are going to put them out there. Because in the end, if these people are your Facebook friends, let it be known. Yeah, I know so-and-so. I know who did that. Because in the end, this was, again, acts of treason against our government. Y'all can't just let that slide. Lord knows there's somebody that I knew that was in there. I'm telling. I'm straight up telling. I ain't gonna lie. Exactly, Jojo. He doesn't care. I also have type 2 diabetes. Yes, Miss Pat. At the 6 p.m. curfew in place, these fools are still out there gathering at the Capitol. It's a shame. And right now, there should be these big old buses. You know, we call them the paddy wagon. They should be pulling right on up to the Capitol. And they've already been warned verbally a few times. The mayor done said what she done said. Time for talking done. Get on up in the wagon. Please get in there and cooperate, because if not, we're gonna make sure you get in the wagon. Y'all don't want that. Come on through there. And go and cart them up. Hell, take them all to RFK if it's too many of them. Lock them up on the stadium ground for a little while till you figure out what to do with them. But bottom line is, don't just let this go on throughout the night. Like I said, my worst fear in this all thing is that there's some country right now saying, yep, this it. This is time to go get them. They ain't paying no attention. Go ahead and start setting up the weapons and all that. We about to get these fools because they on some stupid stuff. Heads must roll. The security breach came from the top down. Exactly. Those who allowed those people in the Capitol were planted and had to be in Trumptonians. There should seem some type of form of disciplinary action as well. No pension included in that action. Straight up fired, jail, discipline, period. Completely agree, Meech. Completely. Excellent interview today, Meech. I ain't going to gloss over that, so we're going to talk about that a little bit because that was a good dude. HH, this is a gray area in our judicial system. Sadly true. Very good point. Yep. So people, like I said, me and you, we're not the only ones angry. Right now, there is no justification as far as I'm concerned for what happened today. Period. And let's not forget what happened before the stupid riotous acts. I'm talking about the stuff that happened on the Senate floor. Ted Cruz, you're an idiot, sir. You are a kiss butt, a buffoon, a clown. Your role in this is uglily repugnant and just stupid, okay? The things that you had to say in regards to why you felt the necessity to make this part of the procedure go on and contest the votes of Arizona, you, the senator of Texas, contesting Arizona's votes. Come on, man. You played a part in the treason along with everybody else as far as I'm concerned. Perhaps they should bring you up on charges as well. I mean, again, it'll be reported tonight. You'll see what he had to say. You know, C-SPAN, they show these things on a loop. You be the judge. What I thought he had to say in regards to it is ridiculous. Even Mitch McConnell had to own up to the fact that what was going on was not right and would be a major distraction, a major breakup of our democracy. And we know that more times than not, what Mitch has done in the past weeks, let alone past several years, are not messages that we have approved. But even he knows when time came and push came to shove, I'm going to do my job and do it right. What you're doing, sir, is wrong. I cannot approve this message. Thank you for that much of this, Mitch. You still a dummy, though. But, okay. Ted Cruz and Andy Harris are both racist idiots. And again, that's just like I said, you see Ms. had that to say a lot, but again, I go through my Facebook feed all day. Keywords, racist, stupid, bad democracy, boom, 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 I wanna. People are upset and angry by this, and not just people of color. My friend Amy and several other people on my page are people who are white or people who are not people of color are not pleased with the actions of this president. I understand. And I need you guys to understand, as we're having this forum and this discussion, most of us are like-minded and agree. There is a vast number of people out here, however, that does not. The thing that also really angers me is the fact that Some people were out there today and seen some of the same things I saw on my television. And they not only approved that message, they loved it. They loved what they saw. They were completely and totally in agreement with everything that happened. They wanted it to be even worse and even more so. Because they do, for whatever foolish reason, believe that what this man is continuing to report and put out there on his Twitter feed and in the public is true. He know he wrong. Think about it, people. The election ended what? Basically 3 days or 4 to 5 days after it was all said and done. How many times does this man have a press conference? And in that press conference, he actually answered questions. You know he's not trying to do that. That's why he keeps doing these little pre-tape things now. Because he don't want to have to answer for what he's done. Answer for what he's doing now. Because he wrong and he know he damn wrong. Hold on, let me get to these comments, shooting back to you. Here's the underlay for the overplay. Miss COVID-19 has mutated, and now the B17 from the UK and the B1.351 from South Africa both are deadlier than the 19 and more, and 70% more contagious, I might add, Meech. 1351 is the worst, resistant to the vaccine. Well, at least the ones that previously out there, they say it's not going to make them as effective. True. And we have B17 here in the States, and an 18-year-old diagnosed here in Atlanta, and a couple more in a couple of other states today. Of course, that got buried in the back pages because of what went on today. Unfortunately, these actions that went on today will bury the fact of the real problem. Because remember, and I agree with this completely, in order to fix what's wrong in our economy and everything else right now, we must control the virus, just as Joe Biden has said. And how can we even get to that when we have to address other foolishness before we can even get there? Absolutely. Mayor DC could have done better. Yeah, and see, and like I said, I'm not trying to give her a pass, Elena, but in the same token, she did not know that things was going to get out of hand like this. She did not. And remember, you at the Mayor DC, you kind of in a trick bag as it is, because yes, your actual city is DC, Washington, granted. But Washington, D.C. is also the center of our country, the capital. There should already be protocols in place that would have allowed for the protections necessary to stop what happened today by the federal government to be dealt with. So, yeah, please stop blaming her so much for what happened in D.C. today. Yesterday, in fact, she went out, and again, you can look it up. You know, you like to do research like me. And she stated that they are preparing for some type of thing to go on here. And she has reached out to other entities and surrounding states and cities to come assist in that. But in the same token, I refuse to believe that anybody sitting here on this live or that will see this later on had a very thorough understanding of what exactly was going to happen today to the extent that it did. No, we did not. Let's be honest about that. Please don't put that on the mayor like that, okay? That's just my personal opinion, H2. We can agree to disagree. Exactly, AJ. She ain't any better than these fools have disrespected. No, again, like I said, JoJo, we can agree to disagree on that too. But no, I'm not going to put all that on her. Small part, yeah, but no, all that you're putting on her, no, not at all. Okay, all these fools without masks, yelling, spitting in everybody's face, and no hand sanitizer, no bathroom until they storm the building. This is a plan to evoke martial law. And at this point, it's kind of hard not to see something like that transpiring. Because keep in mind, they're trying to resume the Congress this evening and get this on out the way so we can move on. But what if they can't do that and they try to start it back tomorrow? Tomorrow, we might be looking at these same types of scenario. They're not going to storm the Capitol like that again. I promise you that's not going to happen. But in terms of them popping back up and more the same, and perhaps even worse, because who knows, as we speak now, I'm worried about other countries. There might be other people in the country that we live in that's sitting here like, we got to go help our boys. We need to go ahead. Come on, mount up. They need some help. They need some backup. We're going to come up there and turn it out. Or any type of foolishness like that that might be going on. So, yeah, rest assured, people, this ain't over. Exactly, knowing that they already had the virus themselves, spreading it like wildfires. Exactly. I'm not blaming her. I just said she could have done better. And I understand that. Like I said, I mean, I think we're talking percentages here right now. You saying she could have done much, much better. I'm saying she could have done a little better. Okay? Let's leave it at that. I don't know. Martial law doesn't change the election results. I bet they thought they would disrupt the process. Yeah, that's what they were thinking. Blame is across the board. Well, again, I'm talking percentages. Bottom line is the main person to blame here is that fool that's in the White House. Uh-oh. I've lost Hugh, y'all, but that's all right. He'll be popping back in. In the meanwhile, people, this, my friends, is why we have these platforms. Our voices, our people. Because I myself, at least, cannot sit silent and allow these atrocities to go on and not voice my opinion on them. And not allow a platform where you guys can properly speak your mind as well. Right is right and wrong is wronger than wrong. And we can't do it. The buses have just pulled up, E-Buck. Okay, those buses I was talking about, the paddy wagons, absolutely. Load them in there. Load them on in there and ship them on out. Any call-ins? No, I'm not doing no call-ins right now, H2, but I do want you to do a remix if you want to tonight, because you know we're gonna go off in a little while. We is gonna get to sports momentarily, and you know it's still a lot to be said about this, and I definitely want to hear some of your takes on some of what I said as well. So, you know, if you do a remix, please let me know and put it out here so we can broadcast that before we leave the air, so we can have the people who want to continue in this conversation join you as well. So yeah, please do that. Okay, okay, Hugh is back now. Go ahead, Hugh.
I'm just surprised it took them that long to have everything calm down too, because you know, like I'm saying, I hate keep putting, you know, colored people or people of color in this conversation. Look how long it took for them to get the paddy wagons down there. Look how long it took for them to actually get things to be a little calmer than what it is. You know, it wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have been this way if it was people of color. A lot more of them would have been gunned down. They would have been arrested. They would have been treated really disrespectfully. They would have got beat up. They would have used tasers. They would have did whatever it takes by any means. And nobody would have looked at them like they were wrong. Right. This is totally wrong. This is out of hand. This is out of character. But yet you allow it to happen. Look how long it took for them to bring the paddy wagons out there. It took this long. Nobody got shot. Nobody really got hurt. You know, like I said, I really feel bad for the person who did pass away, who got shot. You know, condolences to their family. But I know, if you know, and everybody else know, if it was people of color, this would have went down a lot worse than what it is. And I feel like that's the reason why it should be handled accordingly. They definitely should handle this in a better sense than what they are. It's a little too calm. Like a lot of people have been saying, heads need to roll. Things need to get put in order. It's just very unnecessary. It was a heinous act that we're all looking at and we're surprised. When I looked at it at first, I'm like, man, is this really going on? You look at it like it's a movie or something, you know, and you can't believe it with your own eyes when you see it. But now that you see it, and we're going through this and we're living it in America, it's like, man, what are you guys really going to do? Are you going to do what's right for the country's sake? Because until then, that's why you're always going to have this country be divided as it is, you know, and I think that's what the president planned when he first came and, you know, took his seat in office. He wanted all this to happen. It seems like a well thought out plan.
Absolutely. I agree. Like I said, I don't think it went exactly the way he planned it, but he definitely planned it to go similar to how it went. In other words, he definitely planned on them storming the Capitol. I don't think he planned on them storming into the Capitol, but he definitely wanted that show of manpower in front of the White House to let people know, yeah. And again, people, let's remember, the majority of us did not vote for that message. And out of the people that still didn't vote, I say the majority of them don't approve this message. So no, the whole country is not looking at this and saying, yeah, this is great. Keep doing your thing, Orange Dude. They disapprove of what's going on here. Let me address a few of these comments, then I got something else to say in regards to what else happened today. After display, what is going to be in place for the inauguration? This is another historic inaugural event, and the Trumponians may want to come disrupt the proceedings. And seeing this as a security breach, what are they going to do? And yes, Mr. Biden, you must sincerely consider that in the next 2 weeks. I already know you pretty much have put out there that you don't want people to come to the inauguration. One, because you, being a mindful president, understands that we are in the middle of a worldwide pandemic and you don't want it to be a super spreader event. But two, now we have this to consider as well. Because again, not only do we have the Trumponians that will probably be in the midst of an inaugural event, but they have the people that will use the Trumponians as a shield for their nefarious plans in the process as well. So yeah, I'm very concerned about that breach. Excellent point there, Meech. If the president is in control of deploying the military and they're deployed ahead of the Black Lives Matter movement, and again, Amy, so many people on my page have expressed this. They really have, but deployed well after the Capitol building is breached by trumpets. I think the situation is obvious. And yeah, like I said, a lot of people go back to that one incident in particular. You all know the one by now. Black Lives Matter movement out there protesting social injustice. Suddenly, Trump sicks the boys on them. Move them out the way. Tear gas, all the other stuff transpired. Moments later, this fool walks from the White House to the church. Y'all remember the scene. Throws up the Bible. Says it's a little 2 minutes of stupid. Boom. Photo op. Forever known as the photo op. But meanwhile, these people peacefully protested. Now we got this foolishness today. No military force. For at least the first couple hours, very little police presence. Allowed to just storm the Capitol with our major congressional people in there. Who knows what they could have done? Think about it. You know where everybody is. Yeah, we got the Secret Service in the house, but it's so many of the congressional people in there. You know, normally they would all have their own Secret Service people, right? Well, because they all together, they probably didn't have everybody with their own separate one. They probably just had a group of, okay, you watch this and this. You get one or two of those congressional people, particularly people in the House that are in charge of our intelligence or our judicial or what have you. You know, where literally all the bones are. You kidnap them. Tell me what you know, or we blowing your damn head off. Then you learn some things you ain't supposed to know. Sell those secrets to a higher bidder. We got scandal times 5 going on. And like I said, who knows what they saw in some of them offices today that might get out there. Because keep in mind, hopefully the government will get to them and lock them up before somebody else put 2 and 2 together. You know, the Russians been hacking our systems. The Chinese have been hacking our systems. They got that facial recognition. Y'all be careful with that TikTok. And yeah, I know who that is. Let me get him a call. This is so-and-so. I will give you such and such money if you let me know what you saw on that paper, blah, 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 blah. Who knows what basic person at that point might do? You see what I'm saying? There's so much to this that people ain't even really considered yet. I'm just thinking about these things that I'm sitting here talking to you guys. But see, something good happened today, and I definitely want to get into it. Then we definitely talking some sports, Hugh. We definitely gonna get into it because we gonna do what we came here to do. Let me get to some of these comments first, though. Anyway, I'm back. I had to go to my LinkedIn and get some information for a job I'm currently applying for. On the job, is this position just popped up on? Man, if that job is a good job and ain't gonna put you in harm's way, Leah, you take that doggone job, girl. You know I got the hook up on the resume. You better handle that. Exactly, Hugh. Remember, Agent Orange has a new secret police team that snatch folks up off the streets, knock fools out the way so they could take a picture with an upside down Bible. Yeah, let's not forget that part, Meech. Bible upside down. I forget who said it, but it's like maybe if he would have read some of the stuff in that Bible, we wouldn't be in the situations we were in today. All I got to say is keep your eyes open and have your hardware handy. And unfortunately, it's kind of hard not to look at it that way, TC. We on high alert here. Meet for the inauguration. They should be Secret Service locking everything down well ahead of the event. I don't think that they had the same security measures for protest permits, even if they should. You're supposed to have permits and stuff to have meetings. So that, I mean, again, we in the midst of a worldwide pandemic, folks. A crowd that size should not even be meeting at all. The spread of the virus, the variant spreads of the more contagious spreads of the virus. It should have never happened. Again, there are different points of blame here, but the main blame is the person who invited these fools to the party to begin with. So-and-so, J so-and-so. Treasonous acts. Riotous acts. Setting people up to fail. You know, from all these stupid events you done had over the months, and in the end, all these people popped up with COVID and died. Those people's lives and their blood is partially, if not mostly, on your hands, sir. Quote unquote, sir. Hold on. I believe Trump told the law enforcement not to secure the Capitol, knowing that the Trumponians would go there to attack them on purpose. And who knows? Again, we talking about investigation. Y'all want to investigate what went on with the election. We need to investigate what went on today. There do need to be a commission to talk about that. Because again, here, let me point something out that some of y'all not quite thinking about. You know, there's two sets of interweb. You know that, right? There's the one we all know, and there's the dark internet. The one where a lot of these people meet and congregate and talk. This was not just some fly-by-night plan, folks, that just came up all of a sudden. These things have been talked about for weeks and weeks on these interwebs, the ones we're not privy to, because most of us, we don't deal with Trumponians on a regular basis. Who knows what they had planned for today that didn't go off? Who knows what they still may have planned for, like you said, the inauguration or other days. And I'm seeing now that it appears that Congress is meeting back up this evening. Very good. Because I know that's not probably the safest place to be. And there's probably a lot of rubble and stuff all over the floor. But they need to finish that job. They need to let not only the people in America know, but the people around the world know that our democracy is not a game and it will not be crushed by any force, by any form, whether it be domestic or foreign. We will continue and move forward, as my brother Meech would say. Okay, couple more, Hugh. Hold on. I think it needs to be a privatized, televised event. I can't argue that one. 2 minutes of stupid, indeed. And rob the people of their chance to see that little man lose his position in the White House? No way. Some of the officers were scared. Yeah, because they weren't expecting to get bum rushed like that. You better believe it. The VP is speaking. Okay. Hopefully he's saying the right stuff. Exactly. Thank you. Everybody saying hey to everybody else. Okay, last one. Should out, should not. Constitutionally, you cannot block a protest because it's protected rights. And no, Amy, I'm not saying they should have blocked them from protesting per se, but in the same token, we do know that we are in the midst of a pandemic, okay? He, as the person who is leading, knows that in the past he has had events that have led to widespread outbreaks because he is the one who encouraged them to not only come to Washington to support his foolishness, but to then move on from that spoken speech that he gave today to the Capitol in order to protest in front of there, knowing that as he was having that speech with them, he could look out in the midst of that crowd and see most of them were not social distance and most of them didn't have on any masks. That myself is not a message I, as the leader of this country, should approve if I was ruling the world, and nor should he have. Okay, Mitch is talking and saying you will not stop us. Absolutely. Do your job, Mitch. Trump obviously wanted this to happen exactly like this. If not exactly like this, something close to it, unfortunately. But anyway, folks, one more point, and then we're going to take a commercial break, then we're going to go into some sports. We came here for that. We're doing that. Congress going on, and we going on. Flat out. So that being said, the one good thing that happened today, folks, Georgia. Thank you, people of Georgia, some of which are right here in the midst of us now. Thank you so much, because you have gave us an opportunity. You gave us an opportunity to fix some of what has been broken. Because you have voted, and your votes at this point at least appear to show that the two Democratic candidates will now move on to be part of the Congress, and thus change the whole complexity of everything, because now, Mitch McConnell, enjoy your time in front of the camera as the leader of the Senate, because that time should soon be over. Because there's going to be a change with a 50-50 Congress that no longer leaves you in charge of the Senate. You now are the minority leader. The majority leader, more than likely, who will be Chuck Schumer, will now have the say-so as to what bills come before Congress to be discussed. So, yes, for us looking to get that much-needed help that we need to get through the virus, hopefully these things will now actually hit the Senate floor and be voted on. And because of the 50-50 Congress and the vice president to be Kamala Harris will have the deciding vote, maybe now we can actually get some stuff done that we need to get done in order to help the people, and not just the 1% of the people, but the people. I pray that's how it goes. And even so, it's still going to be things voted on by Congress that's going to require more than 50-50 consent with the Senate. So I also hope, Joe Biden, you can come through on your promise to find ways to bring other people in the Republican Party to see your point of view and work in a bilateral and bipartisan way to get the will of the people and the stuff that people need done. Thank you, Stacey Abrams. Absolutely. And now that her work is for the moment done in Georgia, I do hope that there is a plan to get her a nice place within the Trump. And I'm not. Nasty mouth me. Sorry, y'all. Within the Biden administration, because she has definitely earned her place in that. Okay, hold on. Despite of what just happened today and the past 2021, we will be our years with wondrous things continually. Thank you, JoJo. Okay, y'all. So like I said, Georgia has made a path to things to be better. Hopefully things will be better. We will be careful. We will be mindful. We will definitely keep an eye on what's going on. We still got at least 14 more days to deal with this foolishness before we can move forward. Let us be careful out there. If you're in the D.C. area, please be careful. If you are anywhere in Trump country, please be careful. Hell, even though we're here in Detroit, and you know this hood is definitely not a Trump hood, we too must be careful. Because who knows what the people on the other side of the interweb have planned for the rest of this time. But in the same token, we're going to keep it moving. And we're going to keep this show moving. So we're about to take this commercial break, Hugh. We're going to come back, and we're going to do what we can to do. We're going to talk some sports. So this is Get Off My Lawn special edition. Thank you all for tuning in and listening. We will be back after a short word from my peoples, my sponsors, and myself. Okay? Let's do it.
We're not asking for your permission. We're not seeking your approval. We're claiming what's ours in the name of our ancestors. We are their answered prayers. This is more than a movement. This is a revolution. Black innocence. What are yours today?
This is the Nighthawk Network. Our voices for our people. Nighthawk Network. My bad, y'all. Pushing the wrong buttons here. I'm still mad. I ain't gonna lie. But anyway, we are here. Get off my last special edition. We are now about to switch it on up and do what we came here to do: talk some sports. Thank you for coming in the house, Nikki. You got dinners to cook. If you're in the Atlanta area, she got some good food coming, y'all. Get in on that. Put your information out there if you got a minute, Nikki. Say that again. Stacey Abrams just made her mark in history, her story. Absolutely. And she needs to get her flowers while she's here. Thank you, Miss Abrams. Okay, Hugh, we are here to talk sports. We're about to do that. I'm going to try something here because I really want us to be able to talk to everybody the way we need to. So I'm going to try this and see if that's going to cure our feedback issue. Stand by, sir. I'll let you know in a second. Okay, while I work on this end, go ahead.
What's going on, E? Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, man. I just wanted to talk about one thing mainly that I saw today on ESPN that I thought was actually a pretty interesting topic. It was talking about how the Redskins rallied behind Ron Rivera after him having his skin cancer, and to see Alex Smith, all the adversity that he went through, for him to actually persevere and actually be one of the better survivor stories in the NFL. I think he's going to definitely be, if not the comeback player of the year, because we didn't think that guy was going to play again. I definitely didn't think he was going to play or have any chance to step on the football field again. At the beginning of the season, he was the third string quarterback. Then he made his way to number 2 to being a starting quarterback again. Good for him. But not only that their stories have an impact on the team, I know that team's not doing well as far as records. They have a subpar record right now. They're 7-9. They make the playoffs because, unfortunately, their division sucks. But it was just good to see that team rallied behind Ron Rivera and Alex Smith. And I feel like it's going to be an exciting contest for this Saturday. The funny thing is, too, Eric, I don't know if you know, or a lot of people who are out there listening, we had 7-9 teams before in the past go on to the second round. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to speak on those teams. One of them was the Chargers, the San Diego Chargers at the time, led by Phillip Rivers, and it was Phillip Rivers. I don't know if Keenan Allen was on there yet, but LaDainian Tomlinson was on the team. Mm-hmm. And then the reincarnation of beast mode, the Seattle Seahawks. That year, they had no business beating the defending champion New Orleans Saints. And to see them get knocked out of the playoffs, that was pretty interesting. And I'm saying now, do this team have a chance against the juggernaut team of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers led by Tom Brady? You got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Gronkowski, Cameron Braid. Man, we can name a few. And then we don't even want to talk about their defense with Sue, Pierre Paul. You got Winfield Jr. on the team. Is so many guys on their star-studded cast, and it's going to be a pretty good underdog story. Would they win, or would they end up being knocked out? Regardless of the fact, whatever going with this team, it's just it's a feel-good story for people, man, to never give up on your dreams and just to, fight, man, continue to fight. With everything that's going on in this world right now, them guys are out here trying to do a job, trying to entertain us. And at the same time, they're in a position for biggest upset in NFL history. Can history repeat itself after two teams went 2-0 that was under 500? I want to know what they can do. And Eric, at the same time, do you think that they have a chance? I'm not trying to be funny. I have them as an 8.5 underdog, but in this sense, anything possible. What is your feedback? What do you think that this team can do against Tom Brady and that juggernaut offense? I definitely want to see where you're going with this. Or do you think that they have a fighting chance? Because with that Washington Redskins defense, man, they're a hell of a talented crew. They're mostly young. And the offense, not so much, but Terry McLaurin works with whoever he got. But what's your take on this game?
Okay. Let me give y'all a take. Keep in mind, this is the first season, y'all, that we actually have 7 teams from each division making the playoffs. Normally, it's 6 teams on each side to make the playoffs. So the way it's working is we got one team that got a bye. So in other words, the top team in the NFC and the AFC, they get to take this week off. All the rest of the teams that made the playoffs, they are in the wild card round. So we basically got 3 games Saturday, 3 games Sunday, okay? And the winner of those 3 games, the lowest seed out of that third game, they're going to take on the team that got the week off. So that's the top seed. And then the other 2, the person that got the better record, that's the person that will host that game. That's how that works, okay? So that being said, we got some good matchups. Let's get into them. We got 6 matchups. On Saturday, we got Colts versus Bills. Now, the thing is, the Colts, they were affected quite a bit by the coronavirus. And keep in mind, that's a key in this whole playoff run because there's teams even now that have corona issues. The Browns being one of those teams. Their coach last night, I believe it was, tested positive for COVID, so he won't be a part of the action. And when your coach is missing, that definitely affects what goes on your team. Absolutely. But that being said, I see the Bills winning that first game because the Bills have put up a stronger and stronger effort every week. They are one of the more balanced teams in the league. They got a good running game. The quarterback has just grown leaps and bounds just through this year alone. And their defense is highly underrated. So I see them winning that game. Rams and Seahawks, that's another Saturday game. The Seahawks and the Rams, that's kind of a toss-up because, one, keep in mind, Jared Goff, he is still questionable as to whether or not he'll play because of an injury he had a couple weeks ago. You see what they look like without him, not quite as good. So I think he is the key to what happens in that game. That game is in Seattle, but keep in mind, under normal circumstances, that would be a big deal because the 12th man in Seattle, that crowd, that could be just the thing that make you lose. But because there's going to be no crowds at most of these games, that's not the factor that it normally would be. Okay, we got the Buccaneers and Washington as that third game. Now, keep in mind, Tom Brady, it took him a little while this year to kind of get the thing going. You know, they had some growing pains early on in the season, but they seem to be clicking pretty good right now. Yeah, one of their biggest weapons, Evans, is day-to-day with the knee injury. But even without that, they have so many weapons on that offense, it's kind of hard not to see them doing well. But that being said, Washington is among the league leaders in sacks and defensive pressures of the quarterback. And as we know, older Tom Brady does not play well when he constantly got people in his face because he's not a mobile quarterback and his arm is not quite what it used to be. If they could get to him and pressure him a lot, it's going to be a hard time for them to win that game. That game is in Washington, too, by the way. That plays a small thing because remember, Tampa Bay is one of the stadiums that does have a nice amount of fans in it. So if they would have had the home field advantage, that might have made a difference in that game. The Sunday games for the NFL, we got Ravens and Titans. Don't sleep on them Titans. Remember, we got Derrick Henry, King Derrick, the man who rushed for 2,000 yards, one of only 6 people to do it, I believe. You know, one of those people is the great Barry Sanders. You know that, right? But who was the first person, Hugh, to rush for over 2,000 yards? Answer that right quick.
You know what? I might be wrong on this one, but I'm gonna have to go with Sweetness on Walter Payton.
Don't quite know football as well. I'm here to tell you. You know who it is. The Juice. O.J. Simpson. Remember that guy? Yeah. He was the one.
He did a lot of bad in this time, but yeah, that's the one good side of him.
Okay, that being said, folks, we got that game going on. I give Titans the slight edge in that one because of the running game. Because once that big fella get to rolling, he hard to stop, particularly later on in the game as we go in the third and fourth quarter. That game is in Tennessee. Again, one of those places where there will be some type of crowd there. So that's why I also give them a slight advantage. We got Bears and Saints for the second game Sunday. I think the Bears got on a nice little run. Mitch probably did enough to earn him a little money in the offseason. Because remember, at one point in time early in the season, he was benched, and it looked like he was done in Chicago. So I think he bought his way to a job, but I don't think he bought his way into a nice playoff run. I say the Saints win that one big. And then we got, of course, the Browns and the Steelers. Now, Hugh, I want you to speak on that. Browns and Steelers, they don't have a head coach. Remember, these two teams actually played this week in the last game of the season. So they, of course, familiar because they division rivals, but because they actually played last week, that's going to play a key part in this. What do you think?
I'm looking at that game, and it's going to be very interesting. I think Coach Stefanski, by him not being there, it's going to be really rough, man, for them. I still feel like they have a chance. They got a lot of weapons, so much talent on that team, offensively and defensively. The thing is, I feel like the Steelers, what they need to do is focus more on the run game with James Conner. If they don't, they'll have a lot of problems. We see when they get one-dimensional. A lot of times they were dinking and dunking, and it got to the point where he was taking the ball out of his hands quick so he wouldn't get sacked. That's what they were trying to do, stop Ben from holding the ball and, doing things he should now, like running and scrambling. But now I feel like them throwing the ball deep and getting back used to his weapons. I feel like that they'll do a good job in this game. It's always an advantage when you have your coach. I think that game is going to go down to who wants it the most. As much as I like Cleveland Browns, I love their comeback story and what they did. I have the Steelers winning at least by 4.5 points.
All right, that's a good take. I mean, also remember the fact that last week when they played, Ben was out because of COVID-related issues. So now that he's back in, that definitely changed the whole complexity of how that Steelers offense runs. Now, granted, that running game of theirs, that's going to be a key in that game because it's not quite as, I mean, it's definitely not as good since they lost Le'Veon Bell. But in the same token, Connor on a good day is pretty serviceable. He ain't quite been as good this year as he has in years past. So I think because of that, I still would give the Steelers the edge, but maybe 3 at best. I could see it being a field goal win. But okay, that's pretty much what's going on with that. So then, of course, the winner of those games move on to the next round. They give us the Final Four. Then we got the championship weekend, and then we off to the Super Bowl. JoJo is asking, who do you think makes the 2021 NFL Super Bowl? So that being said, let's go with the early choices. I will go first. Right now, based on what I'm seeing, I remember the team with the best record in the league this year, Kansas City Chiefs. Hard to pick against them going back. I definitely see them going back to the Super Bowl this year. I know my family would like to hear me say that. In terms of the NFC, I'm still a little torn. I'm kind of torn between 3 teams, really. We got basically we got New Orleans, and if Drew Brees is healthy enough, they could make it because they got what they got going on. Then Tom Brady, it's hard to pick against the GOAT, man. He already got 6 of them. I think he could find a way to make it there. And remember, if he does make it there, that would mark the first time in history of the NFL that a team who is hosting the Super Bowl actually plays in the Super Bowl. Even in a pandemic, that still would be a hell of a thing. And of course, the third team that you can't overlook is the number 1 seed in the NFC, which of course is the Green Bay Packers. Is it time for Aaron Rodgers to shine one more again before he rides off in the sunset? We will see. What do you think, Hugh?
My bad, my mic was acting up, man. Yeah, man, out of those teams, that was interesting to say, man. On the NFC, it's going to definitely be Green Bay, New Orleans. And like you said, man, you can never doubt the GOAT. Man, I've seen them so many times, what he did and the magic he pulled in New England. 6 championships, man. And then to actually host it in your hometown, that'd be amazing. When you got Drew Brees at his finest, hopefully he's healthy enough. He got a lot of weapons over there. Jared Cook, Emmanuel Sanders. If Mike Thomas can come back without being injured because he's still questionable, and you could get, Alvin Kamara, he had this situation with the COVID. That whole running back core was out last game. Those are 3 teams for sure that you can look at in the NFC. It's so shaky right now in the NFC. It's not a sure thing like in the AFC. I like the Kansas City Chiefs, the 4-1 record. That speaks for itself. But at the same time, they're going to have a lot of competition in the Buffalo Bills, man. I hate to say that because I've been a Patriot fan for so long, but Josh Allen's playing lights out, man. He even got that guy, Brian DeBall, interviews, and definitely he's going to be one of the coaches because of the development of, Josh Allen this year. He was a shaky guy who, if he couldn't pass the ball, he was running and he was trying to do too much in the run game. And whenever he was getting pressure, he made bad decisions. I feel like not only you got to give credit to Brian DeBall, you got to give credit to the Bills organization for going out and getting Stephon Diggs. Before then, they got Cole Beasley and John Brown. They were already, meshing, and they were going in the right direction for getting all those weapons for them. But in the end, I definitely still feel like Kansas City is still, you got to beat the man. You got to beat the man to be the man. Like Ric Flair. You're just not going to knock them off right now. If you can beat them, hats off to you. But they look like they're still on the top right now.
Absolutely. Yep. Hugh quoting the great Ric Flair on that one. In order to beat a man, you got to beat the man. Man, this feedback got me crazy. We'll work it out for next time.
You want me to mute?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, folks, that being said, it's going to be a good NFL playoffs. Again, the only thing I think may affect it more than it should is, of course, the COVID, which leads us to our next topic. Let's talk about some of this college basketball. Don't know how many games you've seen so far this year, Hugh. I've watched a few from the different conferences and whatnot. It's a good brand of basketball this year, despite what's going on with the COVID. I mean, it's still not lost on me the fact that these young college athletes are in the midst of a pandemic, largely playing on schools where campuses are not open, and the only people on said campus is probably them. But that being said, I find it interesting how they're trying to work this out. If you notice, a lot of the teams, and again, that comes to play this week as well, they are finding themselves in the midst of COVID, and because of that, oftentimes, if there are more than one case, they have that team cancel a game. And as opposed to the team that they're supposed to play not playing at all, they seem to have these things where they're allowing them to go and find a team to play right quick and replace them with the team that they were supposed to play instead. So some teams are working it out that way. Now it's leading to some interesting matchups, but in other terms, it's actually helping some teams that wouldn't get the normal exposure from playing on TV to get their shine, which is also good. However, my other concern is that because they want to get as many of these games in, because, the money talks, people. The money talks. They are willing to put these people in harm's way in order to make the season happen. This ain't like the NFL where these people are getting paid millions and millions of dollars to put their bodies and their life on the line. These kids ain't getting much of nothing, if anything. And you still want them to have that same type of responsibility to keep themselves safe and play and all that good stuff. That's not quite so good. Of course, you guys, you will get to know as we do the sports show, unlike some of these other sports broadcasts where they try to be neutral and whatnot, we got our favorite teams and we're going to speak on them. We like our teams and we're going to talk about them. We're proud of our teams. And one of my teams, that's particularly in the women's game of college basketball, UConn Lady Huskies. That's my squad, y'all. I love what Gino is doing with these young girls this year. He has a younger team that he's used to. Many of the girls on the squad are sophomores and freshmen, but he is doing a good job coaching them up and getting them to play some good defense. That being said, they were going to have the challenge of the young season playing Baylor. That game, however, now has been postponed or canceled, actually, because the coach of Baylor, one Kim Mulkey, future Hall of Famer, is out with COVID. So thusly, her team has been quarantined and they are not playing. And I'm not happy about that. Keep in mind, UConn Huskies already had to skip the first 4 games of the season because of COVID, because of issues that they had in their program. So, the thing is, as we work toward getting to a point where we get to the playoffs and all that, how much of COVID is going to affect this season, much like it did in the college football season? What do you think, Hugh?
Yeah, man, it's affected so much, man. I was looking at some college games and I seen so many teams that wasn't playing. But I just definitely been disappointed with one of my teams, man. One of the teams that, they're not my team, but we all learn to like them. They have so much talent, and men from, the Kentucky Wildcats, we've seen John Walls, you got your Boogie Cousins, man, there's so much talent that comes from that school, Eric Bledsoe's, etc. And we were watching one day, I think we were watching NFL, and you said, Hugh, tune into college, man. You're going to be surprised at what you see. And I looked and I was like, man, what the hell going on with Kentucky? I think they didn't win a game at the time. And then they lost in a close one. And I was like, man, this is not the same Calipari teams. What's going on with them, man? I've been so disappointed with them. But, I don't even want to talk about my North Carolina Tar Heels, man. They're nowhere to be seen. And I looked to see Duke. I was like, what the hell is going on with the college basketball right now? The good thing is I'm from Michigan. Thank God the Wolverines are doing okay. My problem was when I looked in the rankings, I said, how are they so low right now with their record? I know it gets a little biased and they say the strength of schedule with, some, basketball. I know that the ACC is the more powerhouse conference when it comes to basketball. But I said, come on, give me a break, man. Them guys didn't lose games. And then you still have teams who lost games, a la Villanova, Texas, Creighton lost 2, Kansas lost 2, and Iowa lost 2. And you telling me that all these teams are ranked above them? It's like, man, they got to do something better with the college format. I already had problems with, the football when I'm not having 8 teams in a tourney. But now when I'm seeing this, it's like some of the same issues now are finally starting to happen in basketball, where they show a little bias of the strength of schedule, man. You need to rank the players or to rank the teams from what they are. They're undefeated. How come they can't be in the top 5? And you have guys who lost 1-2 games and they're in the top 5. That doesn't make sense to me. Y'all starting to rub off on the football end, and y'all always did a better job on that aspect of the game. I just feel like I'm not really feeling the college basketball, how they're doing right now, because it's starting to lose me in that sense. I'm going to still watch, and even if my team do lose a game or whatnot, but if they're still undefeated, why aren't they in at least the top 3? Because one of the teams in the top 3, Villanova, they lost a game. We didn't lose any. But yet, we're ranked number 9. So what's really going on with that?
Right. I mean, because the thing is, you got Michigan. They finally in the top 10. They ranked 10 this week. But, for those first few weeks when they were going undefeated and beat some pretty decent teams, I might add, they weren't getting the love. And in the end, normally you would talk about strength of schedule and whatnot, but because we're dealing with a COVID-related season, that strength of schedule kind of changes. Because again, we got certain teams that's basically playing who's available at that moment, as opposed to the teams they would normally play. And then again, for some of those teams that are playing, your major player or 2 might be out with COVID. That changes the whole aspect of your team. Because in college, it'd take one of good 2 players to elevate a team from the also ran to right there up in the tournament. You get a team with a good run, a nice guard, good backcourt, or a team with a couple big players in the post. They dominate and impose their will. Next thing you know, we seeing them in the championship game. So, you definitely got to consider these things when you're looking at the teams this year. in NCAA. But again, I'm really concerned about the just what these student athletes have to go through just to make this happen right now. Because it's not easy being a person that age. I mean, we've been that age, so we know. But then you're dealing with the pandemic. You're dealing with the fact that you're on campus by your damn self, and you know why you're there. Basically, if you couldn't dribble worth a damn, you'd be at home with everybody else online. So there's that. And then, of course, you know, there's people that support you in terms of people on your end, but the other people, do they really care about you as a student athlete, or are they just you the payday? Get out there and play ball. Make sure you go home and be by yourself afterwards, because I can't afford for you to get COVID. You messing up our money. I mean, you messing up the program. I mean, we care about you. You see what I'm saying? So there's that part. Now, okay, we're gonna take one last commercial break, y'all. Again, we sorry about the sound things. You know, we kind of threw everything together this week. We're gonna have all that together for you next week. Don't worry. In the meanwhile, we are on Get Off My Lawn special edition. It's my boy Hugh Lee. He is the co-host this evening. He will be hosting the sports show from this point forward. We're gonna get into that a little bit near the end here, but first, this quick commercial break. This is the Nighthawk Network. Our voices for our people. Nighthawk Network. All right, y'all, we are back. This is Get Off My Lawn Live special edition. Talking sports with my boy Hugh Lee, the guru himself. Right now, we about to get into one last segment here. We're going to talk a little NBA before we head on out. Thank you guys for tuning in. Those of you who are catching us on the rebroadcast, we are going to be doing a sports show starting next Wednesday from this point forward. Naming things to be announced. It will be me and my boy here, Hugh Lee. We'll be talking sports, variety of issues, but it will be a show of the people, and you will see how we pull it off next week. We'll get into it, but we're looking forward to it. Please let your people know to tune in. If you don't catch us on the live broadcast here, you can catch me on Eric Buckner's Nighthawk Network Detroit page on YouTube. Please go there, watch the show, watch any previous shows you may have missed. Please like and subscribe. We're trying to get our subscribers up. We're able to get more subscribers. We will be able to do things within the Nighthawk Network, dealing with YouTube, that will help us on the way. So please do that. If you're seeing this show, please like and subscribe. Again, that's Eric Buckner, Nighthawk Network Detroit on YouTube. Mr. Lee, do you have a YouTube page?
No, sir, not at this time.
You will, though. Cool. Yeah, we gotta get that. Okay. Still have mic issues, y'all. Sorry. All right, Hugh. Before we go there, can you hear me, Hugh?
Yeah.
Any feedback?
Not at all.
No feedback?
Not at all.
Interesting. So yeah, I don't hear none of that, and maybe we'll be good with that. Okay. Talk you right quick. Go ahead, talk.
Oh, okay, man. You hear any feedback on my end?
Okay, yeah, I got my speaker on low, so I can't hear you as much, but you should be able to hear me. We'll go with that. Okay, here's the thing, people. We got the NBA going on tonight, because usually when we go on Wednesday, it's probably going to be game night of some sort. Game time, I should say. And tonight is no exception. Reason why some of y'all might not be tuning in, because y'all might be checking out these games, or of course what's going on with our government, unfortunately. Let's look at some of the games going on, see what the scores looking like. We got the handy dandy apps here on the phone, so we can address this live on the air. Right now, we got the Pacers beating the Rockets by 9 with 1:38 to go in the third. Any thoughts on those two teams, Hugh?
Yeah, man. The Pacers been playing lights out, man. A lot of people thought that they were down and out after last year. I was even hearing rumblings in my ear about Oladipo, man. They were saying Victor Oladipo might not be on the team, and he's been in a lot of trade talks, man. But him staying and all those guys over there, man, they're doing a good job. I didn't think they'd be coming off to be that well. They started off this well last year and they kind of collapsed, but I feel like, man, I don't think that they're going to do that this year. They're meshing together. They got good chemistry, man. Right when I said that, I see the Houston just hit a 3. But at the same time, I still feel like that's a good team, man, and a great organization. I was a little bit upset about how some things was handled with the coaching, et cetera, but I still feel like that's going to be a good team. And I'm just really surprised on what's going on with the Houston Rockets right now. I definitely want to ask you this question, too. Do you think that they're going to just get to the point where they say we're tired of James Harden and his shenanigans and move on from him this year, or they might just keep him and make that trade next season?
Okay. Oh, feedback. Okay. Yeah, here's my take on that. I really feel right now, in terms of Harden, I think it depends on how far they get these first 30, 40 games.
Okay.
Yeah, because we just ain't getting past that tonight, Hugh, it look like. But okay, the thing is with Harden, right now, he is still more or less in his prime. He maybe got good 2-3 seasons left in him, but remember, he got that huge price tag coming out of Houston. If he was basically making middle of that $15-20 million range or less, he'd already be gone, first of all. Second of all, because he's a franchise player, you can't just give him away. You know what I'm saying? He still has value out here. As you see, he's still quite the scorer. He also is an underrated passer. And his defense is actually getting better. Amazingly enough. I mean, for those of you who think he's not quite a defender, he is among the league leaders in steals and whatnot. So, yeah, there's that. But that being said, because Houston is in a semi-rebuilding mode, I feel like based on how this first half of the season goes, will dictate what moves they make with James Harden long term. Because I honestly believe there will be a team out there that will be willing to offer them what they would want in return in order to get James Harden on that squad and put them over the hump. Remember, one of the teams that he was rumored to go to early on in the season, the New Jersey Nets. Now the Brooklyn Nets, mind you. The thing is, they're off to a somewhat decent start, but you put Harden on that team and not have to give up too many of the other young pieces in order to make it happen, that puts them right in the midst of the playoff hunt, as far as I'm concerned. That put them right up there in the East for sure. So there's that. And there's other teams that'll come play. Miami, a possibility, because Miami basically made it to the finals last year with what they had. They packaged together a couple people not named Adebayo and Butler, and perhaps they can attain Harden and get over that hump when they get to the finals. So there's that. So, yeah, I honestly think that, yeah, he definitely is in the realm of possibility to be traded, but it really depends on what he does on his end and what other teams are looking to do with him on their end.
Just looked up, man. That game getting kind of interesting, man. They only down by 3 now. Just that fast when we was having that conversation. If they could just get to 500 right now because they're at 2-3, man, that's a good start for them right now. They all haven't really been playing on the same page, but I'm just hoping that Wall and Harden can get along, even though a lot of the stuff that was going on right now, it was because before Wall came over, because, we've heard a lot of the issues with him and Bradley Beal. And I don't want that to be a trend with him. I just think he come over here with a clean slate. And I just felt like Harden wasn't too happy about what was going on. At first, I just thought that it was Russell Westbrook, but Harden was feeling the same way and he wanted out as well. But, yeah, it's really interesting to see, man, because I feel like that's a really good team, great organization. And you're right. You're going to need a King Ransom to get him, man. You're going to have to at least have 2 to 3 top-tier players to get him. I still feel like they won't be in a bad bind if they had Adebayo and they had Jimmy Butler. I might be talking crazy or people might think so before James Harden. I think that's actually worth it. And I think that team would be great to add up to over there. with already Boogie Cousins, and then you have, John Wall, man. There's a lot of good things that they could do with that. But you're going to have to at least have 2 to 3 good top tier players. Hell, maybe even the draft pick.
Yeah, I'll definitely say take at least that much. You're going to have a Antonio Davis type deal to pull it off, I think. Maybe not to that great extent, but something close to it. I'm looking at some of these other games. A couple of these we don't even really talk about. You got the Wizards pretty much blowing out the Cavaliers. Cavaliers maybe slightly less than they was last year from what I see. They definitely going to play their way to the lottery. We got the Wizards and the 76ers. That's a surprise. Sixers only up by 10. So, yeah, that's good. I mean, 76ers actually look pretty good so far this year with Doc Rivers at the helm. What you think about that one, Hugh?
That's all I really think they needed, man. They needed a great coach, man. And I don't even want to really get off the topic on this, but I felt like when we seen how bad the Clippers played against the Dallas Mavericks that night, losing by 50 was despicable. And when we saw that happen, I looked up and I said, well, Paul George can't blame that on Doc Rivers now with the game adjustments and all. I feel like that's all they needed over there with the 76ers is a good coach that'll hold them accountable. And I still feel like he's one of the great coaches and he could make those adjustments and do what he needs to do. I just felt like at that time, no matter what anybody say, that Clippers team choked. They had so much pressure on them and they just couldn't keep, the momentum moving. I just felt like when they lost that game that tied to series, that the Denver Nuggets took the fight out of them. You can't blame that on the coach. The coach can't go out there and play basketball for you. He just putting out the plays. You can make adjustments, on the fly. And if you don't, that's up to you. But I still feel like the strength of Doc Rivers and to have that potent team, they're going to be making a lot of noise in the East, man. I actually feel like this year they can even go to the conference finals. I'm not going to say finals. I can't throw that out there yet. Let's hope that they all can stay healthy too, man. I just feel like as a big man, Embiid needs to, state his dominance. Sometimes he joke around and he's too goofy. He needs to take the game serious and play like he's 7 feet, man. That's the one thing I feel like sometimes I hold him back, that he don't play like his size. But more than that, I feel like Ben Simmons needs to step up too. He needs to get a jump shot and have a better perimeter game. And until he have that, they're not going to be as big of a threat as I think that, and everybody think that they can be.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think that's the whole key, truly, to this season. One, how Doc can convince Embiid to be more of a post player and not so much a perimeter player. And two, convince Ben Simmons that, yeah, you at least got to throw that shot out there every now and then. So they respect it enough to where you can use that to your advantage. Because if you get them two things together, along with keeping them healthy, of course, and them continuing to be better on defense, they definitely look to be one of the top 2 or 3 teams coming out the East, most definitely. Okay, I'm looking at some of these other scores now. You got the Hornets and the Hawks, 66-51. Hornets, the Hawks kind of a helter-skelter team this year as well. I'm not quite sure what we're going to get out of them long term. I mean, Young, he seems to be playing slightly better than last year, but that being said, his surrounding pieces I'm still kind of leery about. It's the reason why they had Rondo come on and be a point guard. Of course, he's hurt these last few games, but you might eventually have to see him switch from being the point guard, that being Trae Young, to a 2 guard because he seems to be more of a shooter than a facilitator of the ball. We got the Jazz and the Knicks. We're not even going to bother with that. Knicks playing better, though. That's good. Our Pistons is playing tonight against the Bucks, and as you expect, they're getting that butt whooped, and not a surprise there at all. They basically got with them for a little bit the other night, but bottom line is they seem to have no answer for the Greek Freak. No shame in that because most teams do not, but I imagine I checked the box score. He probably dominating them as well. Okay, we got the Thunder and the Pelicans. That's in the second. That one's pretty close right now. We got 51-47 Pelicans. I'm not quite sure what the Thunder got going on there. Are you familiar with their roster, Hugh?
Not really. I see Al Horford was over there, man, and it was just weird to me to not see Steven Adams over there no more. I remember he was saying that he was trying to tip the ball to the Thunder because he was so used to playing over there. But yeah, I'm not really as familiar with their roster, man. I know they made a lot of like different trades, and is Bledsoe over there now? I believe the trade for Bledsoe got Drew Holiday over with the Bucks. Yeah, but I still don't really see too much out of their roster. I do like the Alex Gilchrist kid. I think he's pretty good. But I just don't really see that much potency on their roster, even though, like you said, this is a close game. But I think the emergence of Brandon Ingram really makes the Pelicans a scary team to watch. Hopefully Zion comes into his. A lot of people might not like, or they might not give credit where credit due, but when Lonzo Ball is healthy, man, he plays a really good role as a contributor to the ball, man. He don't got to score as much, man. He's been working on the jumper. I've seen it. It looks better than what it used to be. And definitely when he was in college, but I still feel like that's a team in the making. I'm going to keep my eye out on them because I think they're going to be all right. I actually see, too, that Rockets game is close now, man. They only down a point. And oh, okay. I see the Celtics game is at halftime too, 53-45, and both of those teams are playing pretty good. I see the Celtics are 5-3. I thought that they could do better. They should have won that game against the Pistons. I was shocked as hell that they actually lost that game, but they were getting blew out that game, and it ain't no way the Pistons shouldn't have let them come back like they did. But so far, so good, man. A lot of those guys are getting infected by that COVID too, man. What I think was the biggest mistake is the fact that they didn't do the bubble this year. I thought that they were definitely going to go with another bubble. Nobody had the virus. And a lot of the people who got caught when they were doing silly things, going out and doing things like partying when they didn't supposed to, we're not going to put that out there. The man who was at the strip joint eating wings, I'm not going to say his name, but I still feel like the bubble was the solution, man. Everybody was safe. They looked at, Adam Silver like he was a genius. And I just don't understand why a lot of people's not going with that format, because those guys was healthy and nothing came about it. And we've seen some games get canceled this year in the NBA because now they want to go and travel and do all the things that they shouldn't be doing anyway. And they're starting to fit in the league with all the other teams or all the other places, the NFLs, the college, who's just letting things get out of hand.
Yeah, absolutely. So that being said, we're going to get to wrapping it up here. We got some things we need to contend with. We want you guys to check out the later slate of the games this evening. Among those tonight, we got the Clippers and Warriors as the premier matchup in ESPN night game. Steph Curry, he's been doing his thing these last few games, folks. He hit 62 the other night. It was very impressive. He basically was the Steph that we missed from a couple years ago. And when he hung like that, he could take them big places. But are you going to get that effort from him every night? Especially since you don't have the other people to key in on to help him out when, he ain't quite on. So that's going to be an issue. We're going to talk about that some more and some of the other sports next week. So thank you guys for tuning in. We're about to head on out now. Me and Hugh, I'm going to let him get the last word. But before we go, for those of you who listen to the early part of the show, please be careful, y'all. It's a lot going on. Don't just be blindly out here in the streets not paying attention to what's going on. Now, I ain't just talking about the politics. Pay attention to what's going on with this pandemic or what's going on with the money and everything else. Don't just be blindly out here not knowing what's really good. Please pay attention. And, enjoy y'all sports in the meantime. It's good to get your mind off of some of this stuff, but that don't mean be blind to it. That being said, I'm let my man Hugh take us on out.
Appreciate everybody listening, tuning in, and we had a really rough day. At first, we really didn't want to do the sports part of it, but we want to try to distract and get your mind off things. we just want to say be careful out there, be mindful of other people, love one another, because it's really rough and it's so divided in our country right now. We just want basically peace and love throughout. We know it's not going to happen, but at least we can do our part. We got to be the bigger people out here, man, and just stop letting all this stuff happen and allowing ourselves to get caught into it. That's why I was blessed that we were able to get on the air today and talk and be the positive role for the people who are upset. It's a lot of people lashed out. I had a few bad things to say and lashed out. I had to get them out before I came on the air because we want to be as professional as possible. But I just want to say thank you guys for listening to us and giving support. We appreciate y'all. Thank you for the Nighthawk Network, and hopefully soon that we can be back and give you a full, fresh, show full of sports. And we will even give you the name of the show next week. So tune in, and thank you, and thank you for listening to us.
All right, y'all. So from my man Hugh Lee, from your boy E-Buck, this been Get Off My Lawn special edition. Thank you, y'all. Pray for our country, man. We need it. Until then, we is out, y'all. We will see you guys next Wednesday. Peace.